last session in 2023, Representative Dale Hawkins and Senator Glenita Zuiderveld sponsored a bill that said we will not do ranked choice voting in Idaho. And it passed the Senate, it passed the House, it got signed by the governor, and both senator and representative join us now. Welcome, folks. Representative Dale, the bill started in the House, so I want to go to you first. And we talked about this on the Signal before, but what was the impetus behind this? What did you guys see coming forward that you needed to get ahead of this?
Well, I mean, shout out to Dorothy Moon and her activity in the party, because she was the driving force behind bringing this forward. And, once you study into it and you find out what they're trying to do, I saw on there where it was being pointed out that this is Idaho Citizens for Open Primaries or whatever. This is Californians trying to make Idaho blue is what it is, because there's millions of dollars coming into the state. But we put this through in the House, and then it went over to the Senate. We didn't get any pushback in the House except for, I want to think there was maybe one or two Republicans, and then the other side of the aisle that voted against it. And then I don't think there was anything different in the Senate. Glenita could speak to that, but it was pretty much a slam dunk, and the governor signed it. And little did we know that before we had ever done this, the year before that, there were people actively organizing to push this initiative before we ever got this bill going.
And when you say that, are we talking about Reclaim Idaho and those folks? I mean, they've been working on this for a while.
Well, it was Reclaim Idaho, and I don't have a fact sheet in front of me, but I know that Jim Jones was heavily involved in organizing for money and different things. These are the same people. I mean, as far as the Republican Party is concerned, we all have to remember these are the same people that pushed a big, and they were trying to change out all the precinct positions. They are trying to reshape Idaho. This is just another tool they're trying to get in their toolbox, because this will destroy conservatism in Idaho if this makes it all the way.
Yeah. So, Senator, when the bill did land in the Senate, were there any discussions there? Did it kind of just sail through and everybody was on board at the time?
It did. It was actually the easiest bill that I have ever worked on. It went through, we went into Senate State Affairs with Senator Guthrie, and it got a hearing right away. It passed party lines. The Republicans voted for it. The Democrats did not. And then it went to the Senate floor. And again, I think the hardest part of the bill was trying to explain what ranked choice voting was, because we were all learning about it at that time. But it went through without a hitch. And I even went back into my office and talked to my husband, Tom, afterwards, and said, something's up. I've never seen something happen so easy like this. There has to be something coming up that that was just way too easy. And then sure enough, we got the Reclaimed Idaho bringing in the initiative and the open primaries, which is a complete lie. And I always say, if you can't win, cheat. And this is basically what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, Phil, at the top of the program, Phil talked about how, and I didn't really put those two pieces together, how what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the candidate to go over 50% so that we know that it's a majority of people that wanted this. But when you're exhausting ballots, when you're getting rid of ballots, the pool of voters that are left to create that 50% plus one is so much smaller that it really doesn't represent the people. Is that the big issue here, you think, Dale?
So it is, because now, when you showed the Foundation for Government Accountability information that we'll pass out at fairs and, all the little Fernwood days and Plummer days and all the different things happening in the community. But what they're doing is they're claiming that they're winning by these greater majorities, but they've shrunk the pool. That ballot comes to you, Matt, and there's, let's just use these names. There's Donald Trump and there's that cackling lady and somebody else and somebody else. You're not going to check those other boxes. So as soon as that first round rolls over, your ballot goes in the trash. And just like on the sheet for Federation of Government Accountability, what did they have? That first session, they had 8,000 ballots in Maine that were thrown away, 15,000 in Alaska that were thrown away. So they reduced the people who were actually voting. And then they can say, oh, no, we got 60% of the vote. Well, they had 60% of the 20% that was left when they're done throwing stuff away.
Yeah. Glenita, I'm going to talk about the open primary, jungle primary aspect of it, because again, they keep telling people that this is about open primaries, but a jungle primary is completely different. Any thoughts on a jungle primary versus an open primary?
I think it's actually going to lower people's confidence with the jungle primary, and our rate of people coming out to vote in the primary is already low, and this is not going to give them more confidence. And my thing is if we're not going to have some kind of party affiliation, then why do we even have parties? And I think what's going to happen is it will confuse them enough to where they will just be disgusted where they won't do it. And I find it's interesting on the open primaries, they closed our primaries, what was it, in 2016? They voted to close the Republican primaries. And it's interesting, in my area, in the Magic Valley, the same people that voted to close it are now the ones that are pushing to open it. Because what's happening is they're losing their ability to win because the grassroots are paying attention. The voter is really starting to realize what their vote is worth and that it's their duty. And so they've been showing up to vote, and we've been winning here in the Magic Valley, and they're losing. And so now all of a sudden they're up for the open primaries and the jungle primary.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's definitely going to cause a problem with the people. They will lose confidence in their system.
And what's interesting that Dorothy alluded to in the last segment there was that this isn't necessarily a Democrat-Republican thing. It's more of a uniparty or the elites versus the grassroots, because it's not just, Reclaim Idaho and this Idahoans for Open Primaries groups, they position themselves on the left. They're funded by the left. But you've got guys like former Governor Butch Otter, Jim Jones that you mentioned, former Supreme Court justice. These are Republicans. These are old school Republicans, old party Republicans. Sandy Patano, folks like that are pushing for this jungle primary. So when you kind of start putting those pieces together, you kind of get the feeling that this is more about the old ways, the old power structure trying to fight back. Is that accurate? You think?
It is accurate. And then I just was corrected. Somebody corrected me. It was 2011 is when they closed the primaries, not 2016. And for example, we actually went and did a FOIA to get the signatures of the people that signed the initiative. And we have people like Maxine Bell who signed that initiative. And she was the one, again, that voted to close that. And that's part of that Jim Jones group. And what's happening is they're losing control of the party because they're wanting control instead of wanting to serve the people. And they can't compete. And so they need to cheat. I'll just say it.
You can say it. That's okay. Yeah. It's just what it feels like. Yeah. We're supposed to be one person, one vote. You go in, you vote, you come out. We have to deal with computers and mail-in ballots and all that jazz right now. But at the very least, we have a graphic. We have one of these papers. Let's pull up. Let's take a shot here. We've got these are the documents that we have. This is the truth about ranked choice voting. Let's go to ahead here. These are some case studies. And these here will show, I don't think we can zoom in, but again, we'll make this stuff available. It's over on the FGA.org, but it goes through what happened in Maine, what happened in Alaska, was at Alameda County in California. New York had to throw out 140,000 exhausted ballots, 140,000 people in the New York mayor's race, 140,000 ballots were exhausted. They were trashed. They were thrown in the garbage and not counted, because after the first round, there was no 50% plus one winner. Even though the current mayor was the winner in that first round, they kept going and going and going and going, and it took them 8 rounds and 15 days or something to figure out the winner. So again, we'll make these documents shareable. Dale, you said you guys at a bunch of the booths across the fairs will have some of this material for people?
Correct. We'll have the stuff from FGA. We'll also have the flyers, the smaller flyers that the party has put out. And this is the stuff I think that Dorothy was referring to, that people stop by the office and pick up. We'll have those all over the north, as far as I know. In my area, we're going to have, and of course, that's 5 counties. But, this thing is a Marxist ideal program to tear apart what we have. And I'll just say this, Matt, you were very generous in naming some names and calling them Republicans. I think that there was this go along to get along here in Idaho for a long time. And like the senator referred, that the grassroots is waking up and gaining momentum, and they don't know what to do because they've been on this globalist train ride doing whatever they want. And all of a sudden people are speaking up, and they can't win this. This is why they're changing this. And this myth, Idaho needs open primaries. Idaho doesn't have closed primaries. The Republican Party has a closed primary. And the biggest confusion is that truly isn't even an election. It's a private party picking who they will send forward in the November election. So there's a lot of misnomers going on here. So how we fight it all, it's a big can of worms. I am going to be prayerfully, I'll be in prayer that Raul's attempt to stop this is successful, because there's just so much wrong here.
Yeah, there is. Okay, well, one final question before I let you go, because it's all about action. And so if this thing were to pass, if it were to remain on the ballot, it gets voted in, and you guys return back in, should you win your elections, I forget who has opponents and not, but both of you are in pretty safe areas when it comes to Republican versus Democrat. But should you guys get back into the session in January and this thing had passed, is there anything that the legislature can do to stop this?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go, Glenina.
Okay. Yes, we can, as your legislators, we could go forth and we can actually bring a bill that we will not fund this, which will be about $40 million, I believe is what Phil McGrain said that was going to cost the taxpayers. And so we can come and bring some bills that we can stop this initiative that will destroy our state. And I, for one, I'm all in. I will fight for that. And I also wanted to share real quick, in the Magic Valley, we are going door to door with this information. We are hitting the fairs. We are actually putting out a voter guide. So we are doing as much as we can in the southern states to help fight this. And I know that the northern part of the states is fighting as well. So you have a lot of good people, and I think all your legislatures will even fight for that. I just want to make a little side note. Representative Alana Rubel, who is a Democrat, who voted for the against the bill H-179 to stop ranked choice voting, went on air here saying that she is now against ranked choice voting because she realizes now it will destroy her party as well.
Yeah. Wow. Dale, any final words from you about what
can
be done?
And Brian Ullman posted here in the chat, I was asking a question at the very beginning before we got started about something being in the bill that's kind of a poison pill for us getting stuff changed. It's in section 40. It says all statutes enacted before the effective date of this act that are inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby repealed. So there's something in here that's going to prevent us from acting before July 1. I don't know if that would prevent us from not funding it. But it says anything that is inconsistent with the provisions of this should it pass in November. So we've got to look at this and we'll do whatever it takes. We do have a better threshold for a special session if we have to come back, on July 2nd. And
good point. Good point. You guys have that power now to call back a special session.
And I'm a little, I'll admit I'm a little naive how this could be written in there. It's basically saying that the lawmakers can't make any laws because because
because we say so. Yeah.
Because that's not what lawmakers do. We don't go and make laws.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, they always want to do lawfare and get you in court and have things go along. So we'll all right. Well, folks, I appreciate you coming on, and we will definitely keep tabs on your efforts, and I hope we can talk about this soon with good news as we go forward here. So thanks for joining.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Nat.